I only had a 2-week vacation period. So I agreed to give up my entire vacation for the rest of my contract in order to be able to do the color purple. And because I had done that, my attorney said to me when it was time to renew the contract, he said, you never want to be in the position when there's something important to you to do where you can't do it. So are you interested in owning yourself? And I said, sign me up for that. And he said, well, if you're going to take ownership of yourself, it means you have to also take the risk that if it doesn't work, then you won't get paid. I said, I believe enough in myself to know that somewhere on the other side, I will get paid. So I will take less now in order to get more later. And here's the deal. I have had the best contract humanly possible in television. I started out with owning 50%, and by the end of the show, I owned 93%. So every year, I would increase it. And because of the ownership, I then decide for myself when I take a vacation. Nobody ever again was given the authority to tell me when I could or could not work. I set my own schedule. I designed it the way I wanted to design it. Now, here's the thing about the charlatans and making the decision that's going to be right for you. For every single person that I hired in the beginning, when we were just, 20 people, 100 people, 200 people, I would always come into the room and give a gut check. I would sit with them, I would have a conversation. When you get to have 300 and 400 and 500 employees, that's hard to do. So you have to surround yourself with people who also have not just the ability to execute, but also have the spiritual grounding, the spiritual education, the spiritual information, so that they lead from your point of view. The biggest mistake is that people get people around them, right, and those people are not aligned in spirit with you. And my biggest mistakes have come from because you can't get it right all the time. My biggest mistakes have come from when you see somebody who isn't aligned in spirit, you need to pull it right then. You need to cut it off right then. My big mistake has been looking at it, seeing it for what it is, giving them the benefit of the doubt, hoping things get better, hope you pull yourself together, yes. Don't want to fire a brother. Yes. Let me tell y'all, this is a funny story. So I was doing the movie Beloved in 1998, and we were in Philadelphia, and there was a black man driving. I won't say his name because he was the only black man who was a member of the union, and he had worked for a long time to get to be a member of the union. This one black guy is a member of the Teamsters Union, hard to get into. And every morning I'd get picked up at 4:30 and this brother was going to sleep in the car, okay? And so I said, Jesus, help me with this. We're rolling the windows down and I'm singing in the car, trying to get him to sing. And every morning he would just fall asleep. So at first I had no security with, so I called security to sit with the guy in the front seat to keep the guy awake. I'm kicking the back seat to keep the guy awake. And one day we're on the highway and almost had an accident. And the whole time I'm like, I can't let him go because he's the only brother in the union. And at the end of that day where we just barely missed getting hit by, a Mack truck, at the end, when we got to our destination, I called him into my trailer and I said, helping you is gonna kill me.
When you talk about what the Spirit says in a mixed crowd of diverse people, everybody walks away with a different idea. Tell me if I'm wrong. Every institution has a culture.
Yes.
That culture emanates from its owner and founder. When you talk about, because I'm afraid that people are going to walk out of here and start just hiring believers at random.
Yes.
And only to find out that that doesn't work either.
That doesn't work either.
That doesn't work either.
Yeah.
So I want to go deeper down to understand, are they a good fit for the culture of the organization? And that God doesn't raise the organization faster than he raises you?
No.
And that what you produce ought to look something like you, and there ought to be some similarities in your DNA when you hire them. And if you don't sense that kinship, you can put all those scriptures to bed. If you don't sense that kinship, you may have somebody who quotes scriptures and still falls asleep and snores and needs sleep apnea. Am I right?
Absolutely. And so I think that's such a valid point, and thank you for the clarification, because it doesn't mean that people have to believe like you. Actually, it's better if they don't, because you want as many diverse ideas in the room as possible, and you want to be able to listen to every single one, which I still do, listen to everybody, what everybody has to say, and then something inside you connects to what is the right thing to do for you and for your company. But you've heard it all. And I am the kind of leader, not a good manager. I'm not a good manager at all. And I had to learn that the hard way. And so as soon as you know that that's not what you do well, find somebody who can do that. Find somebody who can do that. I knew that because the first time I had to fire somebody, it took me 2.5 hours. And at the end of the conversation, she said, "So are you firing me?" You know, it's supposed to take 8 to 10 minutes. Yeah. 2.5 hours later, I'm like, well, actually. So now that's not what I do. So finding out what it is you do, and also understanding that when you are at the lead, when you are the one who is in charge of how everything is going to happen, you only need to do what you do. And let all the other people do that. And you're going to hire the people and surround yourself with the people that you don't have to micromanage them. You don't hire them and then tell them what to do.
Say it for the people in the back. Say it for the people in the back.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Sometimes I think that people's idea of being the boss is coming up with all their ideas.
It's not.
And if you have to come up with all the ideas, you hired the wrong people.
You hired the wrong people.
You want people who contribute to the growth and the development of your company, your organization, your not-for-profit, whatever it is. You want somebody who brings in fresh ideas. You may not always do them, but you always want to hear them. And if they are not a birth canal for creative thought and innovation, then we need to shut down the hospital and start over again. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying.